about why we're here. But first, thank you for all being here, despite the very variable weather and the challenges, personal challenges in your own communities. I think the bravery that everyone is displaying is absolutely fantastic and to be applauded. The USA calls the attack on Iran Operation Epic Fury. And according to President Donald Trump, this is the largest, the most complex, the most overwhelming military offensive the world has ever seen. Of course, we all know Trump is one of those people whose ego and ambition is paramount and who has little regard for the truth, so we can take such words with a mountain of salt. But nonetheless, this kind of rhetoric belies the President's and the United States' dedication to military onslaught and imperialist intervention in general. The term we heard through the early 2000s in the USA's invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan was shock and awe. Trump is demonstrating himself as committed to the same project. He's just even less articulate than George W. Bush was. Trump has said the deaths of USA military personnel resulting from Iran's response, sadly, there will be more before it ends, because that's the way it is. USA military recruiters actively target recruitment from high schools and low-income rural communities. The warmongers who rule the USA are more than willing to throw the oppressed of their own nation into the military meat grinder to fuel their imperialist machine. New Zealand's own far-right shitstain, David Seymour, wrote on social media shortly after Israel and USA's attacks, and alongside an image of the monarchist Iranian flag, "Let freedom reign this time," end quote. I won't be shedding any tears for the death of Iran's so-called supreme leader, but no one should be under any illusions that this murder is in any way a win for the oppressed of Iran. First, Khamenei's death isn't isolated. As we've already heard at the time of writing this speech, the death toll just from a single airstrike on a single school is 148, and more innocent civilians will be murdered with each of the USA's and Israel's attacks. The USA's murder of Vietnam's civilians in the 1960s were disingenuously called isolated incidents. When the USA attacked Iraq in the 1990s, civilian deaths were dispassionately called collateral damage. The USA's position is clear. The murder of civilians is acceptable to achieve imperial goals. War in Iran does not create any kind of freedom for Iran's people, regardless of what Seymour or others want us to believe. Freedom will come from the people of Iran themselves rising up against and overthrowing their oppressors. Israel is using the strikes in part to distract from the ongoing genocide of Palestinians in Gaza, the ongoing oppression of Palestinians in the West Bank, and the turn of a tide of global opinion as more and more people become aware of Israel's absolute illegitimacy. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also has ambitions for a so-called Greater Israel, and any display of military might and ruthlessness serves the expansionist goal. Trump, too, is distracting from his own internal troubles. His dominance of the USA is challenged by powerful and effective resistance to the fascist street thugs of ICE, building on organising experience from the Black Lives Matter movement. Sadly, some foolishly look towards a monarchist solution to Iran's woes, supporting the return to power of a so-called prince, son of Iran's Shah, who preceded the current theocratic regime. That Shah sat atop power obtained by the UK and USA-backed 1953 overthrow of Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh. Western imperialism showing itself to be nothing if not persistent. So events such as these can be disheartening. Recognising the sheer scale of our opponents and their persistent commitment to slaughter can be heartbreaking. What's critical in this moment is that we don't lose hope and we don't lose resolve. What stops the war machine as effective resistance of the oppressed against oppressors, simultaneously everywhere. We're not free until we're all free, and that means standing in solidarity with the people of Iran who deserve to be free from Israel's missiles and USA's bombs and the Iranian regime's brutal repression. That means standing in solidarity with the people of USA who take to the streets to resist their government's slide into fascism. That means continued solidarity with the Palestinian cause. And that means us fighting against the ruling class here in New Zealand, taking to the streets like we're doing right now, demanding our government condemn the USA and Israel, demanding we withdraw from the Five Eyes spy network, demand we don't share our people's biometric data with the US government, demand we stay out of AUKUS, and demand a better future for all of us in Aotearoa and the whole world. A better world is possible. Demand it, we can get it. Kia ora.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, all these